I rise today to speak of Bill S-289, a bill that defines Gatineau Park's geographical scope and mandate.
Senator Rosa Galvez for introducing this bill, and also recognize the support from all the members of Parliament from the National Capital Region who've been longtime supporters of this idea. As a senator who lives in the National Capital Region, I have a particular interest in this bill. Having been a resident of Ottawa for many years, I have often had the opportunity to enjoy this park. Indeed, the park has a special place in the hearts of my family. Over many years, we've been there many times, and the photographs we've taken over those years record the history of our family, the growth of our kids, and indeed, oftentimes we would go with other friends and family, often visitors from beyond the National Capital Region. This is indeed what thousands of people and families do from this region. This enormous green space of 361 square kilometers perched on the doorstep of our national capital contains the legendary Meech Lake, over 50 other lakes, world-class trails for cross-country, skiing, hiking, mountain biking, 3 rock climbing areas, 3 large campgrounds, several unique ecosystems, the historic Mackenzie King and the historic Mackenzie King Estate. I urge you to visit a park like Gatineau when you get a chance, when you're here in town. And if you're really short for time, come and visit my office. I've done many paintings of the area, and you can at least get a sense of them, although I assure you I'm not selling these paintings. So this is not a promo. The stunning Erdley Escarpment, promo for my art, but not to sell the art. The stunning Erdley Escarpment, the southern edge of the Gatineau Hill, divides the Canadian Shield from the St. Lawrence lowlands. It is host to a large number of rare plant and animal species. About 90 plant and 60 animal species are found in the park, and they are at-risk species. Gatineau Park is a critical conservation area with a biodiversity that merits attention and protection. Ce parc est un joyau comme un bijou de la...
This park is a jewel in the National Capital Region, and it's time to protect it and preserve it for future generations. The Gatineau Park is an important attraction for the National Capital. It improves the quality of life of residents and increases their feeling of pride, with regard to their city. Dear colleagues, something interesting. This is the second most visited federal park in Canada after Banff National Park, with 2.6 million annual visits. And yet, for all its popularity, it's not a true federal park. It is not established in federal legislation. The bill now before us, that is S-229 would rectify that.
Puts the park in a secure legislative footing. Gatineau Park is not included in the National Park system. This needs to change. To correct this, Bill S-229 will make a series of amendments and additions to the National Capital Act. So let me just quote from one section of the bill. This is section 3 in Bill S-229, where they are amending section 10.01 of the National Capital Region Act. So 10.01 says, Gatineau Park is dedicated to the people of Canada, including the Algonquin and the Shinabeg Nation, for their benefit, education, and enjoyment. Subject to this act, and the regulations and parks shall be maintained and made use of, and its ecological integrity protected, so as to leave it unimpaired for the enjoyment for future generations. Passing this bill and putting Gatineau Park on a statutory footing should be the first significant step to advancing the vibrant, integrated national capital that Canada needs for the 21st century and beyond. I hope that the successful passage of this bill will inspire further infrastructure and beautification improvements to our national capital. Colleagues, I want to situate Gatineau Park in a larger or grander vision to enhance a proud national capital. Here are a few ideas that I'd like to put forward. Indeed, I think in some ways our national capital is looking a little tired, and it needs some serious invigoration. So, in addition to this idea of the national park, I want to put forward the idea, and support the idea rather, that has been put forward by many, to pedestrianize Wellington Street in front of Parliament Hill, thereby enhancing the security of Parliament Hill and making the hill and the area more beautiful and attractive for visitors. I'd like to suggest the need for a new Museum of Science and Technology, which is modern, new, and located downtown, rather than be located in a rather random former bread factory and industrial park in the south end of Ottawa. Nothing against the south end of Ottawa, but you know what I mean. Another suggestion is for a graffiti and street art museum. One of the places that could be housed fairly quickly is in the Hudson Bay department store, which is now across the street and sitting empty, and will likely be empty for a long time. There have been ideas for a portrait gallery that's been put forward by many over the years. A good spot for it would be this very building when we move out of here in about 2032, 33. That's a good idea. Certainly, another idea that has been put forward by many is to have a botanical garden in the National Capital Region. These would contribute enormously to the preserving and enhancing of our cultural heritage and promoting our country. Le Parc de Gatineau est l'un de nos...
Gatineau Park stands as one of our great national assets. We owe it to our children to ensure that Gatineau Park is secured for them.
Environment, biodiversity, recreation, and enjoyment for visitors from across Canada and around the world. These are the objectives of this bill will fulfill. I hope that you will join me in voting for Bill S-229 to send it to committee for appropriate consultation and review. Thank you, colleagues.
Senator Martin. Oh, Sénatrice Mention, vous avez une question.
Senator Mention, you have a question?
Senator, by making Le Parc de Gatineau a national park, what does it change for the park?
Cardozo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Right now, it doesn't have legislative authority. It can be changed. It is simply a park that doesn't have it can stop being a park any time. You could change the nature of the park. You could allow it to have any amount of development. When you have a national park, then it puts a stop to that kind of, the threat of that kind of development, and ensures that it is there for a long period of time. It certainly enhances the ability and the importance that is given to it by governments, by communities, to constantly maintain it and advance its various facilities.
Sénatrice Mention.
Senator Mention?
It's just that Parc de Gatineau is a very large area, and we could, possibly ask the same thing for Parc Algonquin. I'm not sure it's a national park, and I might be wrong, but I don't think it is. But I think it's a good idea. But it's just, I find it's a very, very large area to make it a national park. Wouldn't you agree?
Cardozo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Actually, no. In comparison to, say, Banff National Park and many of the other national parks in various areas of Canada, it isn't that large. It is large in terms of it being close to an urban, suburban area like Gatineau and Ottawa. There are, in fact, some residents in the park, some residences in the park, which are kind of grandfathered in there. And at various times, the National Capital Commission has had first right of refusal when anybody wants to sell their property. So there's a move to try and not so much move residents out of there, but to decrease the number of residents within the park over time. So I don't think it's too large. I think it's a reasonable size. One of the things it does is it sort of says this is where it's going to be. There is pages and pages in the schedule number 2, of language that I certainly don't understand, but it's got a whole lot of very detailed descriptions of the boundaries of the park. So it's not going to be fenced in, but it is a series of roads and sometimes streams or mountains that define the area of the park, that define that this is going to be the park. And essentially it maintains the area that is currently considered to be the Parc de Gatineau.
Senator Klein.
Would you take a question?
Sure.
Yeah. So I'm a little at a loss here, but did you say streams and mountains?
I think streams more than mountains.
Okay. So I feel like I'm in a city hall, Regina here, talking to someone that wants to do something with one of the parks. And who is the actual owner of that? Is it the City Hall, or is it the Ottawa Capital Commission, or who presides over this and can make these decisions and give tax authorities and so on and so forth?
Andrew Cardozo.
So the current owner of the park is the National Capital Commission. So it isn't the city of Gatineau. It certainly isn't the city of Ottawa. It's an area that's being defined by the National Capital Commission.
Okay.
And what this does is take that area and make it into a national park.
Okay.
Put it under those authorities.
Klein.
So would you take another question?
Sure.
So how does it land here? Why aren't those who you just cited, why are they not taking this within their own realm, because they're set up to do that? Are we set up do they need legislation to get this done?
So this is certainly the point of this bill, is to take what is more of a practice and an understanding in terms of National Capital Authority and raise it to the level of being a national park. So it requires legislation for that to happen. As you know, that legislation could begin in the House or in the Senate. Senator Galvez has been working with the members of Parliament for the National Capital Region, and together they decided it would be more convenient to begin the bill here in the Senate, and that's what Senator Galvez has done.